สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to the White Lotus in Thailand ค่ะ
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll notice a lot of bald white guys in Thailand.
Yeah.
The locals call them LBHs. Losers back home.
Remember me?
White Lotus Season 3 is causing quite a stir amongst netizens on the internet and expats and people that love Thailand. Excuse me while I do battle with this beer. Now I actually have a bit of a personal connection to White Lotus.
There was a Hollywood actress on the plane.
And we'll get into story time shortly, but first, cheers. And cheers to anybody that tuned in and contributed to our live stream a couple of nights ago. Unlike myself, who was absolutely a loser back home, the other gentlemen that joined us on the podcast absolutely are not. All three of those guys are expats living in Thailand, and all three of them are very impressive people now, and they were very impressive people in their own respective countries, the Netherlands, Norway, and Australia.
All the other cryptos, that's when they pump.
So we'll get back to why those fellows are so impressive shortly, but I want to first mention White Lotus. So my good friend Carl, Mr. Chandler from the Dong Dong Club podcast in Melbourne, he invited me and Lily, my ex-girlfriend, to join them in Koh Samui last year. And this is where it gets interesting. So I met Carl and Milan and the whole contingent of Australian comedians at the airport at Bangkok to catch the plane over to Koh Samui. My job was to film the Comedy Festival podcast all week. And just before I'm about to hand over my boarding pass, I hear footsteps behind me. Someone's running late. And I turn to see who that person is. Now, I don't know that person, but I recognize their face. And immediately, my heart skipped a beat. I know it's someone I've never met, but it's somebody that I have incredible fondness for. Thought, perhaps they're a character out of a TV show that I like. Now, this person was dressed in particularly casual clothes, like a white blouse, a white Akuba style hat, and no makeup on, and in hindsight that may very well have been a disguise. But at the time, I couldn't quite place her. I saw someone famous getting on our plane. And frankly, she looked not disheveled, but she looked like she'd just run for the plane. She looked stressed out. So me and the delinquent comedians, we're lingering at the back of the line so a couple of us can have a last little toot on our vapes. So we let her whiz right past us, and after she turned the corner into the walkway, I grabbed Carl and I said, mate, I know her. I don't know her personally, but I know her face. I can't place it. She's someone incredibly famous. She is someone that I have watched in some extensive TV series. So the comedians get on the plane, and I'm the last to the gate, and they say, Sir, Samuel, you're actually not on this plane. They put you on the next plane at the next gate.
There was a Hollywood actress on the plane.
As I'm boarding the second plane, bang, it comes to me. It is Michelle Monaghan, originally made famous to me by being the wife in Mission Impossible who has to jumpstart Tom Cruise's heart at the very end of the Mission Impossible movie when somebody's implanted some sort of, explosive electronic device inside him. But that's not the role that made me feel so fond towards this actress. She played the wife in True Detective 1. In True Detective, she was married to Woody Harrelson and then had an affair with Matthew McConaughey.
Slept with someone.
Who?
It was Rust. I f***ed your partner, Rust.
It's coming from my files, Marty.
So bang, that's it. I get on the phone, I'm on the plane, I still have Wi-Fi. The other plane hasn't taken off either. And I message the comedians and I say, Carl, I know who it is. It's Michelle out of Mission Impossible, out of True Detective. He sends me a video back. My friend, the comedian, is seated diagonally behind Miss Monaghan, and he's taken a video of her, and he's taken a video of her doing something. She's reading a script, a TV series script. So being the funny man that he is, Carl worked that strange situation into his stand-up routine that night on night one of the Comedy Festival podcast in Koh Samui. But he didn't let on to the audience who exactly he was seated behind. He made them all guess. And I'm going to throw in a bit of footage of Carl taunting the audience.
I'll give you a clue. Yeah, I'll give you a clue because I was watching this lady from behind and she had her phone.
The audience narrowed it down to who it might be until one bright spark in the audience held up her phone and said, I know who it is. It's Michelle Monaghan. She has just posted a selfie at the beach down the road at Koh Samui, and she's here to start filming White Lotus Season 3. Let's kick it up a notch now and talk about being a loser back home. This term was introduced in the first episode of White Lotus Season 3. Contrary to what the masses are saying on the internet, that I somewhat agree in relation to me and my personal situation. I'm someone that did terribly academically at high school. I never made it to uni. I studied at technical college, and then I pursued a career in an industry that was emotionally rewarding and emotionally heartbreaking at the same time. Now, I'm proud of my legacy, whatever that may be, in Sydney City, working with the homeless adults and the homeless children and teenagers. But diving into a career like that left me with no knowledge of finances. I wasn't working with or alongside people that had investments or talked about crypto or the housing market, all these low-paid social workers and nurses and psychologists, community psychologists and welfare workers and residential carers. That sort of stuff just was not discussed at work, not even outside of work. By age 37, I'd accumulated no real estate, just a bunch of workplace trauma, really. And in that sense, because of that, I do see myself as a little bit of a loser back home. Now, I'll drop in a bit of footage from the fun live stream a couple of nights ago. It was fairly impromptu. It wasn't really meant to turn into a party like it did. I was blessed to have Stefan. He's a highly accomplished musician and DJ and nightclub aficionado and promoter in Scandinavia. And now he's here living in Bangkok, making his mark in the music scene there. He has savings, he's a father, he goes to the gym and works every day, he rarely drinks, he's happily single. There is not a skerrick of his character that I could ever label as loserish. Let's talk about the Flying Dutchman with the slick hair. My good friend Manny speaks multiple languages, including fluent Indian, that he learned when he lived there for the previous 6 years before moving to Thailand. He's an incredibly impressive social fellow.
What a beautiful animal. Shazza, it's a kangaroo. What kangaroo? Shazza.
And sadly, he's decided to go back to Goa in India to live. And he's leaving us shortly, which I'm a bit sad about. And then we have Aussie Mick. And I won't go into too much detail about his history. Suffice to say that he's someone that's done amazing things for other people, and he doesn't broadcast it at all. No one knows this about him. I'm going to drop in a clip of where he was this time last year. The footage you're seeing is from a war-torn country in Africa where he was very much on the ground, Johnny on the spot, in a super senior aide position. Now that's not what I would call being a loser. So to summarize all this ranting and raving, I'm happy to accept that term, but I'm not happy to accept the notion that anyone who decides to leave their country in the West and move to Thailand or any other country around the world is automatically a loser. Absolutely not. Now I realize White Lotus is a fictional story. The actors and actresses are reading from a script and it's very entertaining. And I watched episode 1 tonight and I got into it. I'm going to finish the series. And you know what the funny thing is about that show? In the first episode, it becomes very obvious that the only losers from back home are the characters, the wealthy foreigners that have left their lives of wealth and have come to Thailand and have no understanding of the culture and show very little respect. There's an irony there, and expats like ourselves, we don't really need to take it to heart, take offense to it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back to regular programming tomorrow. See you later. Remember True Detective, number 1? The wife, Maggie.
Anyone want to stop her?
Yes, please. The airport is just a series of bamboo huts and, oh, it's lovely.
Please stop talking.
I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest.